Hello everybody, my name is Chaim David Targan, and what I want to share with you today is how to understand when you go to a Rebbe, you go to a Tzadik, you go to a Mekubal, a Kabbalist, what's going on? What's really going on? Because it's not obvious. Most people actually, there's a lot of misunderstandings, and a lot of times it leads to frustration, leads to disappointment. So, there's a story of a young bacher goes to his Rebbe, and he asks the Rebbe, should I cut my nails before or after I go to the mikveh? Rebbe closes his eyes, looks up, he says, after. And years passed. And the Chassid grew up from a bacher to a serious Talmid Chacham. The Rebbe is getting older and older. And they became close, and he says, Rebbe, I have a question. Many years ago, I was a young bacher. I asked you the question, should I cut my nails before or after the mikveh? And you told me, do it after. I've learned a lot of Sod, I've learned a lot of Kabbalah. What's the deep secret behind cutting your nails after the mikveh? The Rebbe looked at him, put his arm around him and says, they're softer after being in the mikveh. So we have to understand what's going on. And I'm sharing this because I live in this world. Okay, I'm constantly surrounded by great tzaddikim, by rebbes, by mekubalim, and I also, Baruch Hashem, been giving gifts to help guide people as well. I'm not claiming anything, it's just the gifts Hashem gave, so we're all trying to do the best we can with the gifts that we've been given, and there's a b'zchut avot, and the merit of our ancestors, that we have these abilities. So, and Hashem, we know in every generation, Hashem tells us clearly in the Torah that He gives us, using Moshe Rabbeinu as the prototype. In every generation, there's leaders. In every generation, there's people that Hashem gives unique gifts to help us achieve our missions, to help us what we're doing here. In some lifetimes, they were the great tzaddikim, of course, the highest being the prophets, the avot, the imaot, going on and on, down to all of the Tanaim, people of the Mishnah, the Amara, and the people of the Gemara, they all had spiritual gifts. They all were bringing things down. So there's three general categories to understand. One is intuition. Everybody has intuition. Some a little bit, some a lot of it. And if all of a sudden you get a call from a friend that you've been thinking about, you've been tapping into the energy in Shemayim that's been connecting. On a higher level is what's called Ruach HaKodesh. And even intuition, it can be, we know some people who are really shut down, they've got almost nothing. They're like that, if you can see it. And then it goes, some people are very high intuitors. Then the next level is what's called Ruach HaKodesh, divine inspiration. And the Holy Master, Aryeh Kaplan, who brought so much Kabbalah into the English language, clearly states in a number of his Sfarim, meditation in the Bible, meditation in Kabbalah, that at any time, just based on Hashem's will, He can bring Ruach HaKodesh to anyone. Small, old, young, old, Jew, Gentile, it doesn't make a difference. It's by Hashem's will that this happens. Obviously, the more that we do to elevate ourselves can certainly help the process. But sometimes it just happens anyway. It happens because Hashem wants it for no reason, whether someone earns it or not. And we see many stories in Tanakh where people were guided to say certain things, to bring certain things down, even if they didn't have such great merit. Okay? And the next level is prophecy. And there's not that I want to say there's lower level prophecy, but it's all relative to the highest level, which is the prophecy of Moshe Rabbeinu, of Moses, who spoke panim to Hashem, face to face to God. So all this is going on, and nonstop. And I want to make a clear statement today that, depending upon the audience, some will agree, some will be a little vocal and disagreeing. That's one of the challenges here. Was we only have smaller audiences here in Tzfat, where it's nice when we have. If you're speaking in a large crowd, you get a lot of mumbles and comments, and it brings a lot of energy into the discussion. But there are massive numbers of people today with the Ruach HaKodesh, with divine inspiration. Massive numbers. Okay, and there's a lot with prophecy now. Not the prophecy level of Moshe Rabbeinu, totally on, but it exists today. How do I know? Because I run groups of conference calls, and I've worked with tens of thousands of people worldwide. And large numbers have, when they got sent to my calls, often have contacted me afterwards explaining, I had these visions since I was little. I saw the trade centers collapse. I saw this in my head. And a lot of them did nothing with those gifts because they were looking for a way to actually experience it and learn about it from a proper Jewish halachic way. They didn't want to go into other areas because when you dive into other areas that are not Jewish, not halachic, you're open to tumah. You're open to impurity. So number one rule when you're working with someone is you really need to make sure that they are a proper vessel to be a channel for you. Okay. Doesn't mean other people don't have gifts who are not Jewish. There are. But the problem is they're not protected. Okay, they may be good people, holy people, but they don't have the shmirah. The same thing when you have people who are Jewish, also not shomer mitzvot. They're open to tumah. They're open to impurity. So they may have the real gifts, but when you're open to bringing down a big tube of energy into your keter, you want to make sure it's coming from a pure source. Now nobody's perfect. Okay, even Moshe Rabbeinu on his level had challenges. We're not comparing ourselves to that, but so nobody's perfect. So when you start thinking you're Rebbe or this Tzadik or this, they're perfect. They're not. Nobody is. We need to understand that. Because some people start making gods of their Kabbalists, of their Rebbes, of this, and they're not. They're human beings with incredible gifts. Many of them incredibly holy people. But let's make sure we understand that they are human. Okay? So it's also very important to understand the process. Okay? Most people, when they go to a tzaddik, they want to really get a handle on the future. What's going on? What should I expect? But Hashem has other plans. Hashem doesn't like us knowing the future for the most part. He gives us hints. Read the prophecies, read this, learn this. And if you merit it yourself, Hashem may open the gates for you in your head. And I do this in other times we do energy work. We actually will take people to higher levels. And you can actually experience knowing things about yourself that have been hidden. But on average, Hashem doesn't want us to know everything. Otherwise, what's the point of life? Why would we be here? So the purpose of going to a tzaddik is to help push us along the path that we're meant to be on. Okay? To help guide us. Obviously, to give brachas is an important part as well. Because what is a tzaddik compared to an average person? I'd like to say this way, especially people need to know when you go to the kever, the graves of tzaddikim, kivrei tzaddikim, you need to know. First of all, never daven to the person, God forbid. You daven to God. In the bischut, in the merit of this tzaddik, of that tzaddik. Okay. Now sometimes you have a connection to them, and the tzaddikim can play roles, but we only pray to Hashem. Okay, and you can ask to the tzaddik, please come down and help teach me this. That's okay. Okay, but always know the prayer is only to Hashem. And I'll give you a little secret that almost nobody does, and I've been doing it since I got it connected. You're praying to God. And you have the tzaddikim are there in your conversation. So, as in whatever capacity you have, pray to Hashem to bless the tzaddik. Even in Shemayim, bless them as holy. I always say it in this way: as holy as they are, as amazing as they are. Please Hashem, bless them that they're even closer to you, bringing you Hashem more joy and bringing greater connection for the tzaddik. And simultaneously that they're lower in our world, in our physical world, helping us with all the things that we need and helping bring the geula in the sweetest way possible. So, because people always come to a tzaddik, they want, they have this question, they have that question. Stop a second. Hashem gave you this incredible access to this incredible person or people. First of all, thank them. Okay, thank them. Okay, I mean they love to help us. They exist to help us. But when we light a candle in their merit, we give tzedakah in their merit, we actually elevate them higher and higher because they can't do mitzvahs in the world. The worst Rasha can do a mitzvah that Moshe Rabbeinu can't do in the physical world. So now you're in a room with the tzaddik. What happens? You have questions. You have things you want. It's really, really important that we need to understand that how we ask questions is how we get answers. Because let's say somebody has a choice, 10 jobs, 10 businesses they can start, 10 zivugs. We actually have less as actual zivug, but 10 people you're dating. Imagine, keep it simple, make it a job. You give her 10 choices. You can say, what should I do? What you really want to know is, what can I do that'll be the best job that I like, where I'm being paid a lot, that don't bug me too much, okay, where it moves you along the path that you want. That's not bad. But that's not always Hashem's plan. Hashem's plan is, you have all these things you're here to do in your life, and you ask the tzaddik, who works for me, is a shaliach for me, what to do. So maybe A is the job you're paid the most. The answer B is the job you like the most. C is neutral, but you meet your zivug through that. D might be okay, but you meet someone there in a non-romantic way who is a soul brother or a soul sister that you need to have a strong connection with, a lifetime connection with. Or you meet someone who becomes your Rebbe, or you become their Rebbe. Okay? I know someone, he went to a great Rebbe, he's no longer alive, the Tasha Rebbe, who was definitely considered a real tzaddik by almost everybody. And twice he asked the Rebbe business advice. You'd think you double down. I'm getting a bracha from the Rebbe and the advice what to do. Twice he lost his shirt. He lost everything. Was the Rebbe wrong? I don't think so. Maybe there was a part of his tikkun in past lives that he had to fix something, or fix many different things. And maybe he could only move forward if he had to pay someone back. Maybe that was someone on the other side of the deal, and that allowed him to move forward in other areas of his life. He was stuck there until that got fixed. We don't know. And the truth is, Hashem can show us lots of pieces of the puzzle, but often we'll never know. Okay? And then I know someone, 10 different tzaddikim told him to marry this specific woman. And he was like, wow. Okay. These are all like verifiable tzaddikim, big names, etc., etc. And it was the most miserable marriage in history. Or one of them. I can't say we know of all of them, but that's horrible. Horrible. We later found out there was an incredible tikkun that got fixed. One of the big tikkunim right from the Chumash, from the Torah, that needed to be fixed. And a lot of these fixings are part of the whole Geula process. Okay? I've been guided to see the Geula as a puzzle board. Right? This comes down here, this comes down here. And you look throughout the Torah, there's a lot of things that need fixing. And that's what we've been doing throughout history. But some of the really big ones and the hardest ones have taken a lot of time. Like we still haven't really fixed the Chet HaEgel, the golden calf, the sin of the spies. We have the Churban Bayit Rishon, Bayit Sheni, destruction of the first temple, destruction of the second temple. Matter of fact, many Mekubalim have stated that the reason for the Shoah, and actually I'll defer to the Rebbe on this first, he said we don't fully know, but we still have a lot of access. He says the reason for the Shoah was it was the fixing of the generation that caused the destruction of the temple, of the Beit HaMikdash. And what happens here is the greatest thing we can do is what's called a Kiddush Hashem. We do something that elevates God's name, elevates Hashem's name. And the worst is a Chilul Hashem. We do something that disgraces Hashem's name, that lowers Hashem's name in the world. Now take that on a magnitude level, meaning on a cosmic level. It can be done individually, which is horrible, but the fixings can be done on that. When it's done on a klali level, on a communal level, there's no immediate fixing. It takes many, many, many lifetimes and many massive events to fix that. Okay, even the sin of the brothers selling Yosef at Tzadik. We had to have the 10 great martyrs lose their lives, including Rabbi Akiva and many others, fixing that. And the Sagan Cohen, the assistant Cohen Gadol, these are all great tzaddikim who lost their lives, and a lot of it through real hellish, painful ways. And we still haven't fully fixed it. Well, we're about to. I mean, these are all part of the final piece of the Geula. So a lot of things we're fixing are beyond us individually, but for the klal. Or we have a group of people who are friends, people we learn with. Certain chevras, usually with a very strong leader, are responsible for fixing A, B, C, D. And we don't know it. And I want to jump ahead to this, and I wasn't planning on speaking about this, but it's interesting. I hang out at Kivrei Tzadikim. I hang out with a lot of dead scholars, dead Tzadikim. Okay, but to me they're alive. I feel their energy. Things come down, thank God. And a number of years ago, Erev Rosh Chodesh Elul, right before Elul, so it's a very powerful time of tefillah, of prayer. We're getting into the month before Rosh Hashanah. And I have, a large chevra around the world, and I send messages, please send names to daven for. And I went to Meron, before it was shut down and back and forth in the good old days. And I hang out in the oil room. If you don't know where that is, ask people there. It's the holiest place to daven. It's 5 square meters, a tiny little place, but it's the closest place to the entrance to the Ma'ara, to the cave where the Rashbi is buried. And I was just outside there, just seeing all the messages come in, and literally hundreds and hundreds of people sent me names to daven for. And they weren't just names, they were stories. Okay, all of the service people are having, the problems they're having. And a lot of these people I knew. Many had hosted me when I was speaking around the world. People were friends and come to different events. So, cared tremendously about these people. And what happened? I get a message from someone in Florida who actually once had hosted one of my events years ago. And she said, thank God, thank you so much. Thank God someone's davening for me. My life feels so hopeless right now. And it hit me. All of these messages of hundreds of people, or even 1,000 people, were all messages of hopelessness. Okay, and I was just outside that oil room, and I went then into the oil room to really cry out. And one of my favorite lines is, Hashem, what is going on here? What is going on? Hashem loves when we argue with him if it's l'shem shamayim. Always tell Hashem you love him, and you better feel that way. But what is going on here? I said, you made us imperfect, so why are you making it so hard? Right? What's going on? And then, probably the funniest thing that ever got channeled down to me from Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, who's besides one of the most incredible tzaddikim in history, is also very gevura, incredible strength. And he says, we have the whole geula backwards. We think that the geula brings the healing. He says, no. The healing brings the geula. Because what is the geula? It's a reconnection. It's bringing us back down. Right? I mean, what just happened on Shavuot? It's a marriage. Hashem the Chatan, the Mashbiach, the giver, energy of Chesed. We, Klal Yisrael, the Kala, the wife, the receiver. And we've been in a state of separation, not divorce, but a state of separation for an incredibly long time. And the Geula is the reconnection, the coming back. And we, Klal Yisrael, have been throughout all levels of service, throughout history. Every negative emotion we've gone through. I'm not saying it's not justified. If Hashem's doing it, it's justified. But it's certainly painful. So every rough emotion we've had, right? Anger, bitterness, resentment, loneliness, betrayal, all these emotions we felt. And Hashem wants us to clear all these out as a people before the great reunion. And in the funniest line I've ever gotten, hopefully we're all adults here, okay, and I was stunned, this is from Rabbi Shimon. He said, talking man to man, so to speak, he said, because nobody wants a grumpy Kala in the Yichud room. Right? I'm dumbfounded, but it makes sense. Hashem is saying, I want to come back to you in a loving way. I want the hugs and kisses to be real without any complaints. That exile was pretty brutal. The forced conversions were hell. The Shoah was beyond horrible. I says, no, get this out of you. Fix it now. And this is what we've all been doing. So a lot of the things that we get guided by the Rebbes, by the Mekubalim, the Kabbalah, are all to fix all of these things. So I'm going to turn over to our next holy speaker. And if you want to reach me, you can go to chaimdavid.org. And also have lots of information to connect with. conference calls, etc. It needs to be a little updated. I've been nonstop busy, and we're kind of on a war footing up here in Tzfat, so we're a bit on the busy side. But lots of love, lots of light, lots of brachos to everybody. Thank you.